Our stories are not real and made for entertainment purpose only. Subscribe to my channel for more stories. Now let's begin this one. My wife called me a monster, but one envelope proved who the real villain was. My name is Ethan Caldwell, and I never thought my life would become a battlefield. For 12 years, I believed I had it all: a loving wife, Vanessa, a bright 11-year-old daughter, Lily, and a thriving career as a cybersecurity consultant. Our home in suburban Connecticut was the kind of place you'd see in a magazine: white picket fence, sprawling backyard, and a kitchen where Lily and I used to bake cookies on Sundays. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming, and by the time Vanessa served me with divorce papers and a restraining order, those cracks had become a chasm. Vanessa and I met at Yale, where her ambition was as magnetic as her smile. She was studying marketing, always scribbling ideas for campaigns in her notebook, while I was the quiet computer science major who preferred code to crowds. We were opposites, but it worked until it didn't. Her career took off after graduation, landing her a high-flying job at a New York ad agency, while I built a consultancy that kept corporate data safe from hackers. We were a power couple, or so I thought, until her late nights at the office became the norm. Her phone buzzed with messages she'd hide, and her warmth turned to ice. I stayed for Lily, convincing myself we could fix things, but Vanessa had other plans. It started with the divorce papers, delivered by a courier on a Tuesday evening. I was helping Lily with her math homework when the doorbell rang. The papers cited irreconcilable differences, but the real shock was the restraining order filed the next day. Vanessa claimed I was emotionally unstable, a threat to her safety, and had been sending her threatening texts from a burner phone. She accused me of following her to work, tampering with her car, and even showing up at her office unannounced. Each accusation was a lie, sharp and precise, designed to paint me as a monster. The court barred me from contacting her or Lily, and just like that, my family was ripped away. I sat in my empty house, the silence deafening. Lily's drawings still hung on the fridge, her favorite stuffed bear forgotten on the couch. I couldn't call her, couldn't explain. My lawyer, Tom Hargrove, a chain-smoking former prosecutor with a voice like gravel, laid it out bluntly. Ethan, she's got a narrative, and it's convincing. Judges are on the side of caution with restraining orders. You need hard evidence to turn this around, or you're looking at losing custody and maybe your reputation. Evidence. As a cybersecurity expert, I live for evidence: logs, timestamps, digital footprints. If Vanessa was lying, there had to be a trail. I wasn't going to let her rewrite my life. So, I started digging, not with a shovel but with code, connections, and a stubborn refusal to give up. I didn't touch her phone or email that would have been illegal and too easy to spin against me. Instead, I turned to public records, social media, and the digital shadows people don't realize they leave behind. The first clue was the burner phone. Vanessa submitted texts to the court, supposedly from me, threatening her safety. "You'll regret this, I'm watching you." But the number wasn't mine. Using a reverse lookup tool, I traced it to a prepaid account bought with cash at a gas station in New Haven, to towns over. Odd, but not enough. Then I noticed Vanessa's new boyfriend, Greg Palmer, a real estate developer who'd been liking her Instagram posts a little too eagerly. His LinkedIn boasted about discreet investments, but a deeper dive into public records revealed he was drowning in debt to $0.3 million in loans, defaulted mortgages, and a trail of failed projects. Why was Vanessa, a savvy professional, tying herself to a sinking ship? The answer lay in our home security system. When we bought the house, I'd installed a state-of-the-art set-up cameras in the living room, kitchen, driveway, and backyard, all linked to a cloud server with 90 days of footage. Vanessa thought she'd locked me out when she changed the Wi-Fi password, but she didn't know I'd kept admin access through a backdoor I'd set up for emergencies. I logged in and started combing through weeks of footage, my heart heavy with every frame. There was Vanessa, pouring wine for Greg in our kitchen, their laughter echoing through the empty house. There was Lily, looking small and confused as Greg patted her head like she was a prop. And then, in a clip from 2:37 a.m. on a Thursday, I found gold. Vanessa was in the driveway, pacing under the harsh glare of the floodlight, her silhouette sharp against the night. Her phone was pressed tightly to her ear, her steps deliberate, as if each one marked a calculated move in a game I hadn't realized we were playing. I sat in the darkened study, headphones on, the audio feed from the security camera streaming through software I'd used countless times for forensic analysis in my work as a private investigator. I'd installed the system to protect our home, never imagining it would capture the unraveling of my life. With a few clicks, I enhanced the audio, filtering out the hum of crickets and the distant bark of a neighbor's dog until Vanessa's voice came through, low and calculating, each word a shard of ice. "He'll never see it coming," she said, her tone laced with a chilling certainty. "Once the restraining order sticks, we can sell the house. Greg says it's worth $1 million, maybe more. We'll split it and move on." A pause hung in the air, heavy with intent, as her unseen conspirator responded. Then, her voice sharpened. "No, Ethan's too spineless to fight. Just make sure the texts look convincing, make him look unhinged, desperate. We need the judge to buy it." My hands shook as I saved the file, the timestamp glowing on the screen. 11:47 p.m., just minutes ago. My heart pounded, a sickening rhythm that drowned out the world. This wasn't just a divorce, not a simple unraveling of a marriage gone sour. This was a conspiracy, a meticulously crafted plan to dismantle everything I'd built: our home, our savings, the life we'd spent years constructing together. Vanessa wasn't leaving me, she was setting me up, orchestrating a betrayal so precise it felt like a blade sliding between my ribs. The restraining order, the text she was painting me as a threat, a man unstable enough to lose everything in a courtroom. Greg, her lawyer friend who always lingered too long at our dinner parties, was in on it, his appraisal of our house a $sign on my ruin. My mind raced, replaying every argument, every cold silence, searching for the moment this plot took root. How long had she been planning this? How had I missed the signs? The file sat on my desktop, a digital grenade, its contents proof of her treachery but also a spark of defiance. I wasn't spineless. I wouldn't let her bury me, not like this. But why the house? I dug deeper into Greg's financials, using public databases and a few discreet contacts from my consulting days. His investments were a front for a money laundering operation tied to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. Vanessa, with her marketing expertise, was helping him craft a clean image while funneling dirty money through real estate deals. Our house, paid off after years of my 80-hour workweeks, was the perfect asset: unencumbered, high value, and easy to flip. They needed me out of the picture, and a restraining order was the fastest way to make me look like a threat, ensuring Vanessa got the house in the divorce. I didn't stop there. I contacted the gas station where the burner phone was purchased, leveraging a friend in private security to pull their CCTV footage. The grainy video showed Vanessa, unmistakable in her red coat, buying the phone with cash. I traced the threatening text IP address to a coffee shop she frequented, using Wi-Fi logs I accessed through a colleague who owed me a favor. Then I found the jackpot: deleted emails in our shared cloud account, which Vanessa thought she'd erased. One, sent to Greg, read, "Once he's out, we list the house. The beer's ready, $1.2 million, cash. We're set." Another mentioned neutralizing Ethan to avoid complications. Each piece was a brick in the wall of evidence I was building. The weeks before the hearing were a blur of sleepless nights and obsessive work. My sister, Claire, a high school teacher with a heart bigger than her paycheck, became my rock. She'd drop by with coffee and takeout, urging me to eat while I hunched over my laptop. "Ethan, you're scaring me," she said one night, her eyes scanning the stacks of printouts on my desk. "This isn't just about the house, is it?" I shook my head, showing her the email about neutralizing me. Her face hardened. "She's not just breaking your heart, she's trying to destroy you. Fight back." And I did. I compiled everything: video clips, audio files, bank records, the gas station footage, and a detailed timeline onto a USB drive. I printed a 20-page summary, outlining Vanessa's lies and Greg's scheme, and tucked it all into a plain manila envelope. Tom reviewed it, his cigar forgotten, as he whistled. "This is a slam dunk, Ethan, but it's risky. If the judge thinks you're overreaching, it could backfire." I didn't care. This was my life, my daughter, my truth. The courtroom was a cramped, fluorescent-lit box in the New Haven County Courthouse. Judge Eleanor Harrow, a no-nonsense woman with steel-gray hair, presided from a raised bench. Vanessa sat across from me, her face a perfect mask of vulnerability, her designer blouse chosen to sell her victim act. Her lawyer, a slick attorney named Richard Voss, laid out the case with practiced ease. "Mr. Caldwell has harassed my client for months, he said, presenting the burner phone texts. He sent threatening messages, followed her to her workplace, and tampered with her vehicle. We request a permanent restraining order and sole custody of their daughter, Lily, to ensure her safety. Tom stood to respond, but I raised a hand. Your Honor, I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline. I have evidence that proves these accusations are fabricated and that my ex-wife is involved in a criminal conspiracy. The room went still. Vanessa's eyes widened, a flicker of fear breaking her facade. Boss scoffed. This is a desperate stunt, Your Honor. Mr. Caldwell has no proof. I slid the envelope across the table. It's all in here, I said. Video footage, financial records, emails, and a timeline showing Vanessa and her boyfriend, Greg Palmer, planned to frame me to steal our home for a money laundering scheme. Judge Harrow's eyebrows shot up, but she took the envelope, pulling out the USBN summary. This better be substantive, Mr. Caldwell, she said, plugging the drive into her laptop. The next 10 minutes were the longest of my life. The courtroom was silent, save for the faint hum of the judge's laptop. Vanessa shifted in her seat, her fingers twisting her tissue to shreds. Greg, sitting in the back, stared at the floor, his jaw tight. Judge Harrow's face remained unreadable as she clicked through files, pausing to read my summary. Finally, she removed her glasses and fixed her gaze on Vanessa. Mrs. Caldwell, these documents allege perjury, fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. The video evidence is particularly damning. Can you explain? Vanessa's voice cracked as she stammered. I don't know what he's talking about. He's lying, Your Honor, he's trying to ruin me. But her composure was gone, her eyes darting to Greg, who wouldn't meet her gaze. Voss tried to intervene, but Judge Harrow cut him off. Counselor, sit down. I'm ordering a recess. Mr. Caldwell, this evidence is being forwarded to the district attorney's office. Mrs. Caldwell, you and your counsel will remain here for questioning. She banged her gavel, and two bailiffs stepped forward, positioning themselves near Vanessa. What followed was chaos. The district attorney's office reviewed my evidence, and within 48 hours, Vanessa and Greg were arrested. The charges were a laundry list: perjury for the false restraining order, fraud for the house scheme, and conspiracy to launder money through Greg's offshore accounts. The burner phone, gas station footage, and deleted emails were airtight, and the financial records tied Greg to a known money laundering ring under federal investigation. Vanessa's marketing career imploded overnight. Her agency dropped her, and her name became synonymous with scandal in industry circles. Greg faced federal charges, his discreet investments exposed as a front for criminal activity. Last I heard, he was cooperating with prosecutors, trying to cut a deal. The aftermath wasn't easy. Lily came home, but she was a shadow of herself, caught between her mother's betrayal and the confusion of a child thrust into an adult's war. Claire helped me find a therapist for her, and we started rebuilding, one day at a time. Lily asked about Vanessa once, her voice small. Why did Mom do it? I didn't have a good answer, so I hugged her and said, sometimes people lose their way. But we've got each other. She nodded, and slowly, her smile returned. The house stayed ours, a sanctuary where Lily could heal. I sold my consultancy to a competitor for a tidy sum, using the money to start a foundation for kids caught in messy divorces. I named it Lily's Light, a reminder that truth can cut through even the darkest lies. Vanessa was sentenced to 3 years in state prison, her appeals denied when the evidence proved overwhelming. Greg's trial is still pending, but the feds don't look kindly on his kind. Looking back, I don't hate Vanessa, I pity her. She traded love, family, and honesty for a scheme that crumbled under the weight of her own arrogance. I walk past her old office sometimes, now just an empty desk in a glass building, and I feel nothing but relief. That envelope didn't just save me, it gave me my daughter, my life, and a chance to show the world that truth is the sharpest weapon of all.